Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to The Chosen Chronicles. FTW's hottest podcast and its host Connell Gardiner is about to take you behind the scenes of the FTW's biggest stars. Get ready, listeners, because here he is, FTW's chosen one seed PG himself, Connell Gardiner. 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with the 22nd episode of this third series. Are we on now? Yeah, I think we're on the third series with the most experienced talents within any prediction group. We have more than 10 years, probably nearly each, of experience within our groups. They always say, it's always tough when you look at a group like this. You know, we are amazing. We are absolutely fantastic. And this is one of the first times that I've done a podcast where I've been involved with the group that are on. I don't know what way it's going to come up on your screens, but let's start introducing everybody around. The guy on my left, the Viper, Graham Hill. The guy on my bottom left-hand corner, the immortal Gardiner and Clemons. And the guy in the bottom right-hand corner is owner and my arch nemesis currently in the PWMF, John K. Gay Jr. Guys, we are Hall of Famers in nearly every group we've been in. We have won championships absolutely everywhere. But it's the first ever time that we've all been in the same room together. How the hell has that happened? It's honestly beyond belief. It is absolutely crazy, the fact that we've been a faction for so long and we're only doing this. Graham, just start us off with the creation of the Punishers. How did this come about and how did this happen?
Well, I mean, it's sort of come about by accident when you think about things, because it was going way back when we were in the WWPL, and it was like a tag team merry-go-round thing, and everyone was paired up with different people that they would normally be paired up, and so needed a partner, ended up with yourself, and we thought, right, well, we got the win first of all, and it's right. Now we've got that done, we need to make a name for ourselves. And if I remember rightly, I think it was yourself that come up with a name, the Punishers.
If you say it was me, I'll take every bit of credit, but I have no idea. No, I'll be honest.
But it just sort of stuck, and it's been a thing wherever we've been. There's always been some reference to it.
I think it's funny though, because we have been in multiple different groups all together.
Yeah.
So obviously me and Graham, we were SAFPL, we were PWMF, we've been FTW, we've been WWPL, we've been everywhere together. Brandon, you came slightly later than us too. You came, we were talking before this started about 2020, 2021. We can't really get a mix on it. I think we were asking you to join because we had seen in the FTW how much that you had grown, and we had similar feuds going on at the time, and we just knew that you'd fit perfectly in there. Is there any memories you have from joining us, or I see that you're donning the Punisher shirt better than the rest of us?
Yeah, so this shirt, if you guys can see it, this was actually designed by Connell. Probably, I'm guessing around 2021, somewhere in that range. You designed a few shirts, and I actually bought, I think, 3 of them.
Yeah.
So I decided to dig one of these out for the podcast today. So me joining the Punishers, I think John had actually asked me to join the Punishers around the time that you guys started in FTW, but at that time, I don't know what I had going on. I wasn't really sure about joining FTW at the time, but I think what I did is I joined the page but I didn't start participating right away. So the way that I got into FTW was I started to just watch the page, and I would see people like the Chosen One, CPG, or I would see Hollywood Haywood. And it was probably you two guys that I was seeing the most video promos from. And I started thinking, man, that's kind of cool. They're doing video promos. I'd never really seen this in like prediction leagues. And so then I kind of started doing a few videos myself when I finally decided. I told Byron, I said, okay, Byron, I'm ready to participate now. And I think my debut was at the Royal Rumble. It may have been 2021. And my first video promo, by the way, was horrible. But I've grown so much over time, and I give a lot of credit to Haywood. And obviously, you guys, because we were working together in a faction. And the Filipino Beast. His real name is Vince. I was in a feud with him, and that was around the time that CPG and Haywood were in a really intense feud as well. And I was kind of thinking, like, which faction would I like to join? And it just made sense when we went into the Tina Davila storyline, which we may get into a little more later. But it just all clicked, like, well, I'll just join the Punishers. John had already asked me to join before. I just wasn't sure about joining a new predictions league just yet. But once I fully committed to FTW, it just made sense.
The hardest bit about them prediction, or about any prediction league, and this is another conversation we had just before we started. It takes so much time and effort that nobody realizes, and it's so tough. I took close to a year out, maybe slightly longer. Cause at one point I was in the FTW, I was doing the PWMF, I was then doing the Foundation Promo League, I was doing the BWO League, and then I was doing there's like a few other, like I was in Chino's league, I was in Rob's league as well, WGP. I was in 6 or 7 leagues. I had no time to do anything I wanted to do. I felt that I couldn't keep up with the promos, or I couldn't keep up with the storylines in each group, and it was just I felt like I was taking so long out of my day to go and catch up with everything that it was more, I was living more as CPG and not Connell, and it was so rough to the point where I just went, frig this, I've got to have my time off. But it's really daunting coming into a new group, and it can be very tough. But before we move on, we'll ask John, because apparently I've got a different version of when John joined. John, what are your memories of joining us?
Well, I kind of want to give like maybe a little history of where I became the Corporal Punisher. I started PWMF back in 2012. And the first ever tag team we had was me and another guy. I'm not going to mention his name because his name does not deserve to be mentioned on this podcast or any podcast, because this son of a bitch tried to sabotage the group. Brandon, you're one of the original members, so you probably know who I'm talking about.
I think
But
so.
anyway, this is back when Vince McMahon was kind of doing, him and Stone Cold and everything. They was doing their thing, and so I was like, we could be the bad guys. And so why don't we call ourselves the Corporate Punishers? So before I was the Corporal Punisher, I was the Corporate Punisher. So we was like, doing the bad guy stuff, the heel stuff. And so then it just kind of, after I finally kicked him out of the group, I still was kind of Corporate Punisher for a while. Then I kind of evolved into the good guy. And I became the Corporal Punisher. Graham probably remembers. And so, and I know Connell, you kind of came on a little later. So Brandon's kind of like an original, kind of he was in the group when I first started him, and guy by the name of Gary Young, Moe's Trailer, Portland Pringle, who's now like an MMA fighter for real in real life. Just some, guys that I just went to school with or worked with, like Brandon, and then Scott kind of came along a little later. He's kind of like in the second tier of the group, and then so it just kind of kept growing and growing and growing. I mean, I probably started off maybe 20 people, and now it's like over 2,500 in the group. And of course, I met Graham through in WWPL and Walter Smith, who originally went by the name of Ryan. And then, of course, Connell, I think I met you in the WWPL too, originally. And Connell, you may not remember,
I hate when people say that.
but before any of us got into FTW, you, my friend, were the very first person to ever do a video promo.
Hmm.
The very first, and you did it in the PWMF. And I was like, I've thought about this. Why didn't this catch fire? Why didn't guys like, at the time, Matt Abner and Chris Slade, people like that in the group,
They were brilliant
why didn't
people
they
as
kind
well.
of fall suit? Why didn't I? It's like, but I'm going to say when it comes to video promos, compared to you, compared to Brandon, Robert that we were talking about, Ben Holland, good God, look at the shit he's doing. My video promo sucks. It does. It needs work bad. I think my strength is probably the written promos. And Graham has done some great written promos in the past. When Matt Abner was in the group, Chris Slade, those guys, they were really good at doing written promos.
I used to bounce off those guys.
Yeah, I did
they were
too.
something else.
We all kind of bounced off each other, really.
I
And
loved working with Matt, man. I did a lot of written promos with Matt. He was phenomenal. I remember that was a lot of fun.
Even when I came in, I had a lot of dealings with Chris as well.
was really good too.
I had a lot of dealings with Chris when I started. But like going back to that, like I came into that group and I remember the first ever promo I did in there. I must have been, oh Jesus Christ, it must have been 15, maybe 14, 15. I was in them groups, like years of age, and I came into that group, cocky little kid, Facebook Live, thought I was absolutely the best person in there. I came in and I was like, I've been asked to come to this organization. It's full of shit. I can leave. I do not care. See you later. And that was it. And I done the live just being like, look, I'm here. I don't want to be here, but I am. So I'll do what I have to do and then I'll leave. And I was like, anyone who doesn't like it, come and deal with it. And I remember like getting the message from John and Graham and everybody at the time. And I was just sitting going like, I'll fuck this up. I'm fucked. Like I've come in here too strong. Like I've swung for the fences. I've missed. I've pissed everybody off. And I'm gonna whatever. I read the message. Oh, well done, great promo. Well, like, oh my God, you're doing a video promo in here? Like, what the hell? And then eventually, after a while, like I done quite a few, and then the likes of Brandon came in, Brandon started the video promos then, and then Haywood done a few, and there was a few other guys that were willing to do the promos that the same as I was, because you guys are, especially going on Graham and John, no disrespect to you, Brandon, but you're like me. We're very good on the video side of things. Whereas Graham and John, like when you do a written promo, I can see and I can imagine everything that's going on. And it's just it's the different creativity. You said, John, that your video promos need work. Sometimes you either have the written promo or you have the video promo. And I know for me, I've got the video. I couldn't do a written one to save my life. And it's really, really hard. Like I struggle so much with stuff like that compared to getting on a live. I said to Graham, if I was to do like a video promo like Brandon does, where I record it and then post, I'd be procrastinating like shit, like looking at it going, is this good enough? Will I be able to get this posted up? Where if I just do the live, whatever comes in there comes out of there. It has got me in so much trouble over the years. But look, I wouldn't be the lovable rogue if I didn't get myself in trouble. Lads, it has been surreal to have all four of us here at the same time for the first time ever. Brandon, just give us a bit of like, what are you thinking, man? This is nuts.
Man, it's great just to see all you guys. I mean, John and I communicate quite a bit. For you other guys, it's mostly, just in the chats or whatever. But yeah, this is great. I mean, I think the last time that we had Graham and Connell and myself was when I was thinking about this today. We did a video with High Voltage. Do you remember that in
Yes.
Oh my
FTW?
God,
Yes.
I don't know what year that was. It was probably 21, maybe.
Is that a flash of Hollywood?
But that
Yeah.
was fun. It was it a Flash of Hollywood? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was.
But yeah, that was pretty cool when we did that. But yeah, that was years ago, And I've done several different things with John. I've been on John's podcast, different things. A lot of different things with John, but to have the four of us here together it's phenomenal.
It's honestly something that is very, like, obviously now I'm doing this sort of podcast and stuff, but it's very rare to have. But so when you have it, we enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like we have worked tirelessly. Like we spoke about this whenever I did the podcast the first time 3 years ago, and we were all doing different stuff. Like currently, to break the fourth wall, it is 1:15 in the morning for me and Graham.
Yep.
It's whatever time for you two guys. So it's always that time
Yeah.
difference for us two to use guys and trying to get it together. Like we can text all time of the day, but when you're trying to do video calls, you're trying to do podcasts, it just always gets in the way. And like you won't see me take this smile off my face tonight, to be honest, guys, but it's so surreal to have all four of us here at the one time. For anybody who knows the Punishers like we do, you'll notice there's a face missing. Silent Rage, Jared Holmes. For whatever reason, scheduling just wouldn't work. We couldn't get Jared the same time as us. We couldn't get us the same time as him. Some days Jared was here, then us two, like me and Graham couldn't do it, or the guys couldn't do it. So Jared, we're sending you our love. But just to briefly go back, we said about a Flash of Hollywood, so I want to give big Ira Gary a shout out. Flash himself. Ira has listened to every single one of these episodes I've ever done. Ira has been one of my biggest fans since we started, and he's just one hell of a guy. He is an absolute legend, and we really miss a Flash of Hollywood. So, Ira, we know you're going through some shit, but please get back. Please come home to your family with us, and please bring back a Flash of Hollywood whenever Haywood gets his ass out.
That would be awesome. I would be all in for Flash of Hollywood. That would be great.
That was always that's where I got this idea. Like they were obviously Flash of Hollywood. If I'm sorry, Haywood, if I get this wrong, or I'm sorry, Ira, if I get this wrong, but a Flash of Hollywood started with them guys basically telling us what happened every week in the matches in FTW or other organizations. So if I faced Graham, then they were being like, oh, and I want to be like, oh, CPG hit the Viper Graham Hill with a CKO on the steel steps, rolled him into the ring and got the 1-2-3. That's how that started. And then they obviously started bringing on special guests. And like I've been on it multiple times. And Haywood, the only time I've ever cracked on camera and doing something serious has been with Haywood. And one of the very first instances was we were on a Flash of Hollywood. And Haywood started taking his top off and screaming like an absolute maniac. And I'm trying to be heel and I'm fucking him off down the camera. And I'm like, you son of a bitch, like this, that, the other. And he starts taking his top off and throwing it around the room. And I'm sitting there like trying to hold it in, just being like trying not to laugh. And I was like, I got off. I texted him. I was like, you son of a bitch. I was like, you're the only person to ever make me break.
That's great.
That's just the type of guy Haywood is, though. He's just a funny guy.
Haywood's awesome. I
We're
mean,
gonna send
that's not
all our
something,
love.
that's not something the Corporal Punisher would say, but
Hmm.
myself, John, yeah, Haywood is awesome. He is. I love his promos. Connell, I swear to God, that promo you did yesterday, I was in tears, man. I was
His
laughing my
name, man.
ass off
He
when you
appears.
I was dying. I was in the break room here at work, and I was like, "Oh shit,
I was
no!"
sad for
And
anybody.
he
This might go
started
out
doing
slightly
that.
later. For anybody who doesn't get the reference, I posted a video of Joe Hendry had just debuted in NXT.
Oh
Uh,
my god!
I was sat watching the video on TikTok or on YouTube or some good app in the house, and my head was like, I could do this. I could do this. I could do this. And I was like sitting and I spent for 20 minutes trying to write up the lyrics. Yes, it shouldn't have took me that long, but it did. Like I said, I'm not very academically smart, even though I'm going to become a teacher, but that's a different story. Um, and I sat doing the lyrics for about 20 minutes. I called Ben. That was on the first episode back, episode 19. And I called him and I was like, Ben, I've got an idea. I've got an idea. I've got an idea. And he was like, what have you got? I sang him the song just like I did in the video. And he went, send me the videos. It'll be done in 20. I sent him every video of me doing the stuff. He done it up. I posted it everywhere. And you know what? Even I got some hate from it in different groups, but I do not give a shit because I loved every minute of filming that, watching everybody laugh at it and just posting it. It was absolutely, but that's what I'm here for. I'm here for the laughs.
I thought it was great. I mean, that's like something that I would do. I've done a lot of music promos, and actually, we're gonna do a little collaboration here soon. We've already
Very,
kind of
very
started
soon.
on it, just to let you guys know.
I just want to say one thing, Brandon. One time, yeah, I remember that you was on your guitar in a promo. I think I had done some little video promo. Then I look up and you're doing this video promo. You're playing a guitar, and I'm like, "Fuck!" I think I'm just gonna erase my face. I'm like this. I mean, I'm like, damn, that just blows everything away. And you're on there playing music and doing this, and I'm like, man, I can't do that. It's like Byron's like, well, who the fuck can? It's like I was like, yeah, that's awesome, man. And I remember here recently you had a little Venom mask and the Venom Beast or whatever, and then you changed your voice like that, talking like that. I was like, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
I've definitely
I
evolved a
do
lot
do
over
that
the
kind
years.
of shit whenever I'm on here if I really want to. So if I'm doing any songs, I can change all the voices as well.
That is great.
So yeah, you never know what's gonna happen next in this podcast.
Awesome.
The only thing that would be better is if we could get Brock Lesnar on here and do like a little video promo with Brandon. That's his hero.
The last thing I need is Brock Lesnar coming on smashing up my shit like he did to Pat Mac. I can't afford him to put his fist through my tables. But going back, we like Brandon, me and you have talked about this before, the whole Tina Devella thing, that we were mentioning earlier on. The very first one of our songs, collaborations was in that storyline. Do you remember?
Yes.
With the Enter Sandman, it was like we created the song, me and Brandon, and we were trying to figure out a way how we could add bits from the storyline in it. It was like Hush. We sang it. It was like the Enter Sandman, and which was our song at the time, and it was like Hush, little Tina, don't say a word, and never mind that noise you heard. It's just the beast under your bed, in your closet, and in your head. And we had just sang that the whole time or at the end of a promo when Haywood was sat in the house and he just texted back going, bro, that's fucking how did you come up with that? Where did that come from? And I'll try and find a clip and I'll get Ben to edit it in where that video was there or of us using the Enter Sandman. But guys, we've come a long way. We've really come a long way. Just We'll start with Graham and we'll go Graham, Brandon, John. Give us a bit of background into each individual character and how they've developed the longer you've been in prediction groups, if you don't mind. And anybody who influenced you, like wrestlers on the scene at the time or the likes for promos or whatever like that.
Well, I mean, for me, the obvious is Randy Orton starting off.
Who?
Randy Orton had a big influence starting off. I mean, I wouldn't call myself the Viper if that weren't the case. You know, and for me, it's the personalities. You know, and Randy from 04 through till 2012 was red hot.
Unstoppable.
Absolutely. A menace at times. And you could feel it. In the later years, for me, was Bray Wyatt. And because everything he did, I can relate to. I can feel it. And the way I would describe it is it felt like an extension of myself. You know, and, you know, with everything that's happening now with the Wyatt 6 coming, I mean, that was just worth the wait.
100%.
They
100%.
blew it out the park completely. I don't think they could have done it any better. You know, and now it's, well, how are they going to top that?
I guess we're going to have to just tune in to find out.
You know, it's brought the excitement back. You know, and it's a case of now you know, I'm trying to think of the right words to use. It's the excitement, the anticipation, you know. Yeah, it's arguably now the best product that's on TV wrestling-wise, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was going to say Ben Holland is definitely having a heart attack at home. He's an AEW freak.
You know what?
He's an AEW mark, so Ben's definitely crying listening to this.
I want AEW to succeed. I just cannot get into their product. I don't know what it is. I just can't. I can't get into it. I watch the matches and they're all right. The matches are okay.
Substandard.
But there's no storytelling. There's nothing.
What scares me is AEW is going down the same path as WCW did in the early 90s. Or like the late 90s will go. Like they were red hot when they started. They had everything that they needed to be. And then what happened was they started doing the same thing where they were just bringing in ex-WWE guys.
Well, it's like I got into TNA in what, 2006?
That about the time it came on like Spike or the Sky channels?
Over here, it was on Challenge TV.
Yeah.
You know, when they first done their tour of the UK, I went to their show, you know, and they were different. They were an alternative. They had a 6-sided ring. They had the Ultimate X match, Lethal Lockdown. It was different. It was an alternative. All right, they had ex-WWE guys in it, but they didn't overshadow what was already there. You know, and the WWE guys that went over there, they actually enhanced the product.
The likes of Christian Cage.
Absolutely.
Who was only a mid-carder in
Well,
WWE, and then he went over there and was a main event straight away.
You had Christian Cage. You had Matt Morgan.
Even Bubba.
Yeah.
Bubba went from a tag team guy who was never really gonna get that singles run. He went over there, even as late as the Aces and Eights.
Yeah.
Did the whole Bully Ray thing and was over like nobody else. But that's what you want. That's why you need. Like, even look at Christian Cage now. Like, Christian never would have got that run again in WWE. We all know that. He probably never would have got medically cleared. Then obviously he didn't have a bump. He never would have got medically cleared for full-time wrestling.
No.
He's over there, and pray to God that he stays safe and he does whatever he has to do. But he's red hot. He's 40 50 years old.
Yeah.
And
he doesn't need to,
He doesn't need to do this, but he is for the love of it. And that's what makes it different.
I look at the likes of, for example, Darby Allin. Some of the things he's doing, why do you need to do it? Right. It's not worth the risk. It's not worth it. For what? For a quick pop. You can do better than that.
That was just stupid, really. I mean, I didn't really see the need in him jumping through glass or whatever. It was just, I mean, like you said, Graham, it was just like a cheap pop. And, everybody appreciates Darby's talents. He didn't.
Absolutely.
It's just stupid to do that because, I mean, we want to see great matches, but we don't want to see
We don't want to see people, kill themselves, do we?
Right. We don't want them to end their career.
No. My biggest thing is now we've strayed away from wrestling. I feel no, but as stupid as that's but like not even on the pod, like in general, in at their shows.
Yeah.
When was the last time you sat down and watched a match that was technical? That they weren't just putting in a headlock, doing a few spins, getting a submission move, getting back up, and then hitting their signature move. Realistically, it is hit a rope, go underneath, hit a rope, leapfrog, get down on the floor, hit a clothesline, they get back up straight away, clothesline again, hit your signature move off the top rope or a springboard, finish.
I don't know. I think any match that Gunter's in is a technical match.
And you've had Pete Dunne recently do it as well. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, when you watch the old days of William Regal or Kurt Angle, and them kind of guys were technical wrestlers, and they were taking like the joint manipulation. They were doing different moves rather than just a DDT, a super kick, a spring move, or off the top rope. We were actually seeing some joint manipulation. We were seeing moves that you weren't seeing in every match. Whereas now it seems like it's just a highlight reel of, okay, we got this. Let's go out here, hit a super kick, hit a DDT, and it's kind of taken. Like, you look when Jake the Snake had that DDT, it meant something.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels hit you with the Sweet Chin Music, it meant something.
Yeah. I mean,
whereas now you get hit with a DDT, you go through a lucha roll, you get straight back up.
Yeah.
You get hit by a super kick, you do a kip up, and you're straight back there. And to me, that's the hardest bit to watch, is when you've got like stuff like that going on, and there's no selling, or they're getting straight back up, or
it's a case of a finisher these days isn't protected as much as it used to be.
Right.
It's like, prime example, Randy Orton RKO, out of nowhere, hits it, you're down. Cody Rhodes uses it as a setup, Cody Cutter.
Yep.
I mean,
my biggest thing is anytime anyone mentions a finisher to me, and I always bring this one example up I heard from, I mentioned him earlier on, Bubba Ray. Bubba Ray said that nobody kicked out of the 3D until their retirement match from TNA.
Yeah.
He said plenty of people were offered to, plenty of people turned it down, but they were able to protect that move from the first time they ever used it. They said, okay, people saved them. People broke the pin, but they never kicked out.
Yeah.
Until the retirement match at the setup, the Aces and Eights, and the turn on Devon and all that sort of stuff. Nobody kicked out of the 3D until that point. And that's, nobody protects their own finish anymore. And that's the scary bit.
Yeah.
Because 90% of the roster have a DDT or a powerbomb or a variation of an RKO or a super kick as their finisher. Nobody is like it's very rare that somebody's creative and have their own.
There's nothing unique anymore, is there?
No.
You know,
and that's the scary bit.
Yeah.
But the only unique thing that we have here is the man in my bottom left-hand corner. Yes, Brandon, I'm talking about you. So give us a bit of insight on this whole, from the Beast to the Beast King to the Immortal to the Venom Mask, whatever the hell else that you've done over the years.
Yeah, well, you asked earlier about wrestlers that may have influenced my character. Probably the biggest one would be The Undertaker. And just like The Undertaker, I feel like I've had to evolve my character over the years. I actually was forced to change my name in FTW. I'll get into that a little bit, but I started, of course, as the Beast, Brandon Clemons, in PWMF. John remembers, I don't know what year that would have been. Maybe you said you started in 2012. It was probably around that time that I came up with the Beast, and had nothing to do with Brock Lesnar, by the way. You guys know he's like my least favorite wrestler.
Oh, really? I thought he was on your top, like your Mount Rushmore.
Definitely not. But anyway,
Brandon loves him about as much as Scott loves Taylor Swift.
But I came up with the Beast just because I thought it was a cool sort of nickname that went with my name. I was like, what goes with Brandon Clemons that would sound cool? The Beast, Brandon Clemons. So I thought that kind of flowed well. And so that was my character for probably 8-9 years, till whenever I went into FTW. I came in as basically just the Beast. I didn't tack on the Brandon Clemons there. I just kind of went as the Beast. And so I started out as the Beast. And of course, Byron, knowing that there was already the Filipino Beast, there was another Beast, David Smith. He paired me up against these guys like right from the start. And I'm like, okay, there's other guys calling themselves the Beast. Like, I think I said that in one of my first promos, like, there's someone else calling himself the Beast here, and I was kind of doing this Undertaker sort of voice. Whereas when I was in PWMF, I kind of based my character more on, I would say, Stone Cold more than anybody else, kind of this anti-authority. I even, when I would drink beer, I called them Beast Wisers, which is obviously
a parody. That was a blast from the past.
On Steve Wisers, right? So I borrowed a lot from Stone Cold in the beginning, but when I started in FTW, I was more of this dark sort of Undertaker character. And so probably Stone Cold, The Undertaker have influenced me the most. And more recently, like Graham said, I've started incorporating more Bray Wyatt into my character a little bit now.
We've seen the rocking chair in the party song and with the guitar.
Right. If you saw my most recent music video, I had heavy Bray Wyatt influences on that. And so now that I have evolved from the Beast, we had a 3-way match in FTW, which forced me to change my name from the Beast. This was a 3-way match. Myself, the Filipino Beast, and the Beast David Smith. Well, David Smith won the match, so he got the rights to the name the Beast. We decided that. And so at that point I was like, well, I can't be the Beast anymore. What's going to be my name now? And so that's where, if you guys remember, I couldn't think of any name at the time, so I just decided, well, there was Mr. Kennedy. And so I just decided to start calling myself Mr. Clemons. And I even did the Mr. Clemons. And I came out with that promo, which I'm sure Con remembers, when I even had like the microphone and everything. And so that's when I started calling myself Mr. Clemons.
Yeah, you had your microphone. I was sat down like this. And you, like, if anyone
Yeah,
could see.
I would like even kind of like pull it down from the ceiling, like Kennedy did, you know. And so I did that for a while, and then I had a buried alive match, which I lost.
Nope.
And I'm going to give another shout out to Ira here because he really helped me a lot with this video that I came out, which is still one of the coolest videos I've ever done. I decided I am going to get some dirt. So I went all around town trying to find the right shade of dirt and everything. This is how much I was into these video promos at the time. I was like, I'm going to make it look like I am clawing out of the grave.
Shit, I
And I
remember.
had I had my Punisher ring on. You remember that? I don't have it
Yep.
on right now, or I'd show you, but actually a Punisher skull ring coming out of the grave. And at that point was when I started calling myself the Immortal. So then I was the Immortal Mr. Clemons. And with the Immortal, I even kind of did a little bit of a parody on Hulk Hogan there too, because he was the Immortal Hulk Hogan. So I kind of did this fake Hulk Hogan voice, brother, kind of thing for a while.
Which, when you look at that in hindsight, is quite funny because both voices kind of sounded like Undertaker and Hogan, whenever they get into like the character, are quite similar
Mm-hmm.
sounding, which kind of worked really well for you in that respect, where you were trying to do the
Right.
whole Taker thing early on, and then it was like the whole deep voice and not the rest in peace kind of stuff, but you had the deep sort of tone, and then you went to Hogan, which was on the same sort of like level of tone and stuff with the voice, which is funny as hell.
Yeah. So then when I came back as the Immortal, I turned into a baby face for a while. And so then I was wearing, like the red Spider-Man mask. And that was part of the story that I kind of left out. But I got into wearing a mask again because of the Filipino Beast, because he was wearing this luchador, mask.
I
And
love
I
that
thought,
man
well,
more than
how can
words
I
can
kind of
ever say.
counter that? And my son had these two Spider-Man masks. And I was like, that's it. I'm going to wear a Spider-Man mask because I'm going up against this luchador guy. So I'm going to be wearing a mask too. And that was when the Spider-Man mask came in. And so over time, I had the red Spider-Man mask. And then when I turned into a heel, it was the black Spider-Man mask. And we were just at the store one day and I saw this Venom mask, which is what I wear more now. Now that I am the Venomized Immortal, which I've kind of been evolving into that character. Going to go fully into it for my new feud with Haywood. But the Venomized Immortal has a lot of Bray Wyatt influence on him. Very, very dark. And so if you guys start to watch some of my more recent promos, I'm turning into the Venomized Immortal. Like with the Bray Wyatt song that I did and all that. So that's basically a brief history of my
Just please,
character evolution.
when we become this venomized immortal, please don't come after any of us three. I can't be bothered with that crap anymore of like trying to run away from my friends. Like, look, we're all buddies here, really, aren't we?
Well, fortunately, you're in my faction right now in FTW. And of course, John and I have been in faction on and off. And we're talking about I don't know if Byron mentioned this to you, but we're talking about bringing John and Scott possibly into the Cult of X as well. That's something that's possibly down the line. Obviously, you guys know me. I'm all about story. So it has to make sense for the story, but we're
And that's
possibly
another
moving in
Chosen
that
Chronicles
direction.
exclusive.
So,
The fact that we might have John and Scott in the Cult of X. It might have
Mhm.
already happened by the time this comes out, but if it hasn't, well, then there you go. If it has, suck it up. Give me, I'll go around everybody again, same order. Give me one person that you've never worked within a prediction league that you wish you could. And don't say anybody here. It's always the hardest bit thinking. I've had
I
quite a
don't
lot of
know.
work in
yeah,
here.
so you're gonna have to put somebody on the spot here.
Yeah, like it was the one question I didn't want to I didn't want to add in the notes before.
I don't know.
Um,
I'm
Promo wise, I have never worked Trevor Robinson in the promo groups like the Foundation or in the BWO, and I feel like Trevor was always the yin to my yang. me and him were always we were always on the same page, but always just had different stories going on at the same time. And then I left, and then he left, and we never just got it to work. So as a promo standpoint, probably Trev. But I feel, to be honest, guys, like we have worked nearly everybody there is to work. And
That's
if
what
we
I was
haven't
gonna
worked
say.
them,
Like, I feel like
if we haven't worked them, they're not
I've
worth
almost
working.
faced everybody at this point, you know. So
See,
I will say though, like right now, I'm having this one-on-one with Haywood. It's always been kind of a group thing with me and Haywood. It's either been a tag match or a faction match, you know. But having a one-on-one with him is, you know, that's got to be close to the top of my list because I've never really had that until now, and I'm gonna put my best effort into this. I've already been trying to do it. If you guys have been watching the FTW page, I've been trying to really build up to this, and I'm gonna have a really, really dark promo, probably coming out next week, leading up to our match. So keep an eye out for that one.
Of course. Have you thought of anyone, Graham?
my mind's blank. The thing is, you know, I have a lot of crazy ideas. Time is the thing I don't have at the moment. You know, with everything that's going on with myself, it's like there's stuff I want to do. And then when, as I mentioned to you before, you know, you want to do stuff, you think, right, I'm going to start this after this pay-per-view or something, so it's fresh. And then something happens and I lose the motivation or wherewithal to pick up, you know, and you find yourself getting into a bit of a rut. So it's trying to break that. It will happen.
It takes time.
But it's a case of, because I see so much going on, it's so hard to throw yourself into something, being mindful of what other people are doing, so you're not treading on anyone's toes at the same time.
The hardest bit for this was, even when I was trying to start this back up, I sat for weeks, and I spoke to Byron, Brandon, I think I spoke to John, I spoke to you. Like, I had sat procrastinating the shit out of this for weeks. And like I remember sitting there going, well, like the She Talks Wrestling, like they have their pod, and then there's a few others within the group that had their pod. And I was like, the last time I'd done this, like I got my core viewers of maybe like 4 or 5 people. But realistically, I was just doing it for me. With like, is anyone gonna care when I come back? Like, am I gonna have is that time gone? Am I just gonna be like a tribute act that comes back and does like I'm like 3 or 4 episodes and then nobody watches and I just go back into my hole? But the thing you boys to my left have to remember is you got kids. Your time goes to them. This is just this is just fun. Do you know what I mean? So if you don't have time because of the kids, or you don't have time because you're with you, Brandon, with your wife, or
the thing is with myself, what will probably benefit me is if there was someone out there that was themselves, didn't know what direction to go in, because I'm great at working character. Right. I can create a character for someone and say, right, you do this, not a problem, you know. But for me to throw myself into something, one, has to make sense. Two, I want to be in a position where I can give 100% to it. Otherwise, there's no point.
Yeah.
You know, at the moment, it's, you know, you got me back for WrestleMania. That was great. That was fun.
All John's idea.
Yeah.
You guys probably hear my child knocking on the door right now. We were talking about children.
You know, but it's a case of, when you look at some of these prediction leagues and the stuff they're predicting on is stuff that I don't know half the thing about either. It's like you see all these spreadsheets of stuff come up for this match, that match. I'm like, the hell is all this? So I'm just guessing one, whatever. Right, this time I go for the ones on on the left side or on, the top or the bottom. It's like, whoa. It's so
In fairness,
difficult.
I've been doing that for years and it's done me in good stead. So
But it's so difficult to find a rhythm into things because if you're 50-50 in everything, you're not going to be able to get enough. And the last thing you want to do is to be looked at as just another jobber because, that's not my legacy.
I've been there plenty of time, and that's when I took time out. I knew that it was time to go. When I was just predicting for the sake of predicting, just so that I didn't have to say anything with my name, and it was quite tough. Boys, I'm very grateful for this. This has been the first time, like I said, we've been together ever. Poor John has been sitting in his car for the last hour. Odd. Never mind his drive home from work. The rest of us have done backgrounds. I'm sitting in my kitchen. I don't know where Graham. I think Graham's in his room or study. Brandon's in his room, and then there's poor
In the
John sitting in
bedroom.
his car. Guys, it has been an absolute fucking pleasure. And I'm sorry if anybody doesn't like cursing. You just know what I'm like by now. I've got one question before I do the end or the exit. Okay, at the end of back in the day, you boys will understand this. At the end of every FTW broadcast that I'd done, my good friend Trey Marquise wanted me to say, "May Trey be with you." But being the lovable rogue CPG that I am, I took a different venture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the little outro. I'm going to say the end of this. And I'm going to wrap us up. We'll start with Graham. We'll go to Brandon. Then we'll go to John. All I'm asking you guys to say each is, "May Trey go fuck himself." If you don't want to curse, that is fine by me. Then you can say something else up to that level. Because I think, Brandon, what did you say the last time you were on this? Did you say it or did you say something else?
I think I said it, but I'll probably say something different this time.
Say something different this time because I know what you're like. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been one of my favorite episodes of the Chosen Chronicles so far. It is the first time that I've sat down with these three lads. We've just chatted absolute shit for a pure hour. I'm sorry if we've absolutely wrecked your heads. I understand if you never want to listen to one of these podcasts again because we ramble on, we ramble on, we ramble on. But that's what happens when you get three old friends together that have never sat in one room together for the last 10 years plus of knowing each other. This has been episode 22. I've been the chosen big brother, whatever you want to call me, CPG. He's been the Viper Graham Hill. He's been the immortal one, Brandon Clemons. And John, as always, my friend, you've been the Corporal Punisher. We'll start with Graham. Away you go, bud.
May Trey go fuck himself.
Brandon.
Trey can suck it.
John.
Trey, go fuck yourself, man.
Byron, I'm so sorry, buddy, but may Trey go fuck himself. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. This has been one of my favorite episodes, guys. You've been an absolute pleasure. As always, please do not let it be as long again before we can sit down, we can talk together. We've got to do some sort of thing. Maybe next time it will be in face to face, whether it's at WrestleMania or me and Graham just happen to be over in America or you happen to be here. It's about an hour plane from me to Graham. So please don't be strangers.
It'll happen.
Look, there's a lot of interesting stuff coming. FTW, PWMF, Foundation, BWO, all them good places we're at. Guys, please, keep an eye on everything these three guys are doing because everything they do is pure gold. Ladies and gentlemen, for the last time tonight, CPG, the Viper, the Immortal, and the Corporal Punisher are out.